So this is this week the People News. Alrighty, so this is kind of I found this interview with Steve, and I believe it's Steve Martin. I may be wrong on the last name, but he actually in Florida won a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the county for property taxes and taking the house and all that, and won millions of dollars because he found out that it was unconstitutional to pay property tax, y'all. And so he sued him in the federal courts and all that. Of course, it took a couple of years and in and out of the court system, learning it and all that kind of stuff. But when it's done and done with, it was a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. He got his house back, and from what I'm understanding, he also got free electricity. And now all of his neighbors, kind of basically in the same category. He helped out his neighbors, and now when code enforcement is not even allowed to be there, they're going to be pressed on trespass, allegedly. Alright. Anyway, I thought it would be interesting because, well, I'm not going to say it out loud. But anyway, I've been fighting in my past property tax.
Hello? Hello? Yeah, Steve? Yeah? This is Jeff Mayer calling. I got your phone number from a friend of mine, Jeff Smiles. Okay. In Pennsylvania. He's a guy that was still having issues with property tax fraud and all that type of stuff against him. I don't know if you remember talking to him. Man, I've talked to so many people about that stuff. No, it's real hard to keep track of everybody you talk to. Okay, well, he had, I think he mentioned my particular case. I've got a case that's sitting in the United States Supreme Court now against the IRS. I don't know if he said he mentioned that to you, and then he said that you seemed interested in chatting with me a little bit about it. Could be a huge upset for the status quo, but he thought. I remember. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. I just don't remember exactly who I was talking to when I heard that. But yeah, that's cool. Great. Yeah. Just. So what's exactly the issue? What kind of? Is this a tax on your home kind of thing? Is that what this is all about? Or what's the IRS thing got to do? I guess. Well, it's a different thing than what Jeff's dealing with. He's just dealing with some two areas. One particular in Maryland, it's they're trying to steal his house for a $2,000 tax bill, and they're not crediting his account. It just goes on and on. I mean, there's a huge amount of fraud there. And he's pretty much desperate. Yeah, I'm starting to remember him. Yeah, I remember he had the place in like Pennsylvania and a place in Maryland, I think. Right. Exactly. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now I remember talking to him. Yeah. So that's his situation, and mine is it's been since 2008 dealing with the IRS as far as income tax, and they started with summons. They couldn't get my records, so they went after my business records, my bank accounts, my mortgage company, all that kind of stuff, and then later in 2010 they sent me some assessments, all fraud and all things. But and long story short, I went through 9 different courts. Trying to stop the summons and practicing for more than anything, because I don't have anything they can take anyway. But anyway, it's went through tax court, appeals court, and then now I'm preparing a second copy. I filed one in form of pauperous because just telling them I didn't have the money to do it the professional way, and they accepted it. And they docketed it and offered the IRS to respond, and the IRS waived its right to respond. And then they turned down my informa pauperis and stated I had to jump through the hoops for form. So now I'm trying to put that together. But anyway, it's just is that district federal court? That's the United States Supreme Court. Oh, United States Supreme Court. Okay. So you managed to work your way up there, I assume, right? Then you started in the district court, and the appellate court, and then you went to the U.S. Supreme Court? Right. Oh, wow. Well, that's very nice. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Anybody that hears about it, and it's been a long road, but so I've got till February 18th to get this professional one done. I'm trying to finalize the document itself, and it's got to be printed, professionally printed, and it literally in a book. It's got to be made into a book. So that's kind of expensive. So, but fortunately, I've been getting some donations and stuff like that to help pay for it, because it's $300 or $325 or something like that just for the docket fee for the case itself. But Jeff said that, I don't know, that you had some experience with the IRS or something, if I remember right. No, it was the property appraiser tax collectors in the counties here in Florida for taxing these people's homes. And we slapped the county real bad here in district federal court. They didn't even answer the complaint. They went straight to mediation and settled for tens of millions of dollars and gave them the house back. Because I was able to prove with the Florida statutes, Florida Revenue Code, and everything, that all taxation is commercial. Chances are you probably have no business even dealing with the IRS. I mean, the average guy working at McDonald's has no business filing any forms with the IRS, but they got everybody duped into doing it, just like they have with the property taxes on people's homes. Exactly. It's all fraud. But it's all commercial. You have to have a business license, an excise license, and the property appraiser has to be sure that there is some type of profit-making business activity going on upon the property before you can put it on the tax rolls. And they're not doing it. They're just going around taxing every square inch of land they come up with. Yeah. And that's illegal as the day is long. There's a reason why the colonists picked up muskets and started shooting redcoats, and that was primarily what it was all about. And for people to believe that there's laws that allow your property appraiser to put your home on the commercial ad valorem assessment roll is completely crazy, because they just dumb people down so bad they don't even know what taxation is, Yeah. They think it's something we have to do as our duty to keep the wonderful freedom system going. So that means you're telling me that in order to keep the wonderful freedom thing going, we have to let these public servants loot people's homes and steal them for a couple $1,000 they can't even prove you owe, so they keep the wonderful land protection rights rolling. I mean, it just shows you what a hypocrisy it all really is when it gets down to it. They got people so stupid they don't have a clue what's going on. I know. So that's pretty much my deal. I had a good case, and of course I've nailed the city on many occasions with their code enforcement crap, stealing people's automobiles out of their carports, and we've slapped them really good and got settlements out of them. That's kind of where I've been, I mean, I don't have a lot of experience. When people call me, I got on, it's like, I don't know anything about that. I mean, just because I've done a couple cases doesn't mean I'm, some guru. I got 20, 30 years of experience at it, Right. Sure. But I understand jurisprudence, and I understand causes of action. I understand the criminal code real well, and now I really probably consider, most people consider me a master of the revenue code as far as the state of Florida at least is concerned. But it's all relevant. When I'm reading through the Internal Revenue Code, it's all the same stuff. The definition of a person, a taxpayer, does not describe the everyday living, breathing, carbon-based man in his private capacity. Yeah, I agree, and that's why I haven't filed since 2002. 2002 was the last year that I filed, and I just stepped away from the whole stinking system, and now I've got a case in there with some good questions. I've got about 20 questions that are going before the court, and everything from the true definition of income to proving somebody that is a taxpayer compared to a non-taxpayer, the right to tax outside direct and indirect, assessment authority, some good stuff. It's going to be an interesting case, but it sounds like you could be a good help to Jeff. He's even though I know it's different state laws and everything, but it's chances are, he's pretty good at research and stuff, and if he just knows, what to look for and maybe what to do, you might be able to be a good help to him, because they're going after that house, and just it's egregious what these guys are doing to steal his house. He paid $1,000 some odd and they failed to credit it, and then they jacked around and they moved it, and then they tried to send it back to him 4 times, send the money back, even though they gave him a receipt, showing that it was paid. It's just amazing. They need it. It's a huge lawsuit. I mean, that's a multi-million-dollar lawsuit just waiting, and I guarantee you they would settle out of court. But he's totally broke, and I don't have the money to give him. And hopefully I can going to be working on trying to get some work here and get into something to where I might be able to help him with that, to get an attorney. Just all it takes is
every case I've ever done, we've used the indigency filing, the federal case especially. Now this replevin where they took this guy's car, it was like $300 in a circuit court. That's all we had into that. The key was laying out a complaint so dead in the water that these people had no authority, because the city charter makes it perfect clear under the duties and power section that all ordinances only apply to city-owned and controlled property, period. It has nothing to do with the average everyday man's home and what he has up in his carport or in his garage.
yeah.
So I had them so bad, and mainly is what I went after the tow company. I didn't even go after the city, but the tow company brought the code lackey, the chief guy, in. He had put nothing on the table to show cause hearing to show he had any authority to tell the tow company to go do what they did. So the judge was trying to protect the tow company, refused to sign the writ of replevin. I barred grievance and just a can's crap out of him, where I ended up with another judge, it's Rodriguez. As soon as the new judge came in, the tow company decided to settle with us, which they gave us $120,000 for taking an $800 1984 K car. Because I had him for grand theft auto and armed robbery of a private dwelling. Had it on video. As soon as we heard they were screwing with the car, we set up a video camera and hid it up there in the carport area and filmed these guys grand thefting an automobile in broad daylight with 4 armed cops.
Yeah.
Always film cops. Always film every single government official walks on your land, or anytime you go to any type of municipalities of your township. And cops. Always, 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 always.
Courts know nothing, and I had law all over the place. Supreme Court's ruled a billion times, and I got tons of cases here in Florida where even the state courts here said, yeah, the code idiots want to go, they got to have a bona fide warrant. And they didn't have no warrants. They just came and took it because they didn't like the tag on it. And then, of course, the DOT code makes it clear that you don't have to have the car registered or tag on it if it's not being used on roads of the states. And they never caught on roads of the states. They were just sticking with this guy because they think they can. And so we had him in such a spot, the complaint was so well written, there was no way they could respond to it. Even the lawyer for the tow company said, we can't defend this. Right there in the open court, he made that comment. So they came and settled with us. Then in the property tax issue, they took this guy where they won't do process, no nothing. So they don't do that here in Florida. They just create these phony tax deeds, have some cellar, some back room someplace. Next thing you know, some help, really banging on your door when they know when you're leaving, because he just bought your house from the county. The county never owned it. I got case law as long as my leg says. The only person that can convey property is the guy that has, the title and interest on it,
Yeah. Well,
So I was able to nail them on conversion and just all kinds of fictitious obligations, false securities, falsifying the assessment roll. I went after them for all that stuff, the federal and state criminal code, and they settled because they have no way of defending it. There is nothing in the state revenue code that has a procedure of how to not only tax a non-commercial home use strictly, or a non-commercial property strictly as joint owner, but there's no procedure to take it into court or do anything, which makes perfect sense because it's not taxable property. But they've been getting away with it because people are so dumb to the procedures and due process, they just think these guys can do this stuff. Well, you didn't pay your taxes. $10,000, they're able to take $250,000 worth of home. Then they get cops, some 10 cops over there who helped to protect the tax deed recipients loot everything he's owned. Everything he had was all destroyed. I mean, musical equipment, DVD, CD collection, satellite TVs, everything you can think of that being your homeless man.
Remember the most important thing. If you have a right to life, liberty, and property, it's still right. They cannot take a right and change it into a privilege, or change a right into a criminal activity. State and federal constitution. Look up your constitution of the state and federal about your right to property. Very important. And the due process. Oh, you get a tax bill in there. Well, where is that due process saying that such bill?
Lost all over some measly $10,000-$12,000 that is a big fraud, and I had it all laid out in this federal Title 42 1983 complaint touching on RICOs and Bivens, and they had no way of answering it, so they went to the early settlement table, and we sat there for 4 days negotiating on how much money they were going to give them. I had a $400 million claim in the suit using all the punitive damages and all that crap I could come up with to get almost a $400 million price tag on it, and they settled for $38.2 million, gave him the house back. Oh, and they arrested him when they came to the house, and they arrested him, they charged him for trespassing on property that he still had legal title to this day. They still had, he was the only guy that had real title to it. What the county did was all fraud.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
I had them buy the gonads on it. I guess that's pretty much the nutshell version of it. I mean, I go on and tell you for it take hours for me to explain every little thing these chumps did and how they just violated every law in the book to do what they did. And they truly armed logged a private dwelling. And they converted title to it with illegally and did all this crap with it and made false, warranty deeds and all kinds of crap. And the tax recipients sold these kids. And then the county and the lawyers had to go and pay these kids like $500,000 to leave the house and all kinds of. It was really crazy what they had to do and what went on with this thing.
Well, that's what they actually did. That the Baltimore County sold his property to Aon Financial, a separate company. Again, obviously outside of law, outside of due process, outside of So it's so he's got a huge case. He's got a few health problems. He gets migraines. I don't know. I just wish I had the money to buy or to get an attorney on it, because I guarantee you that that's a multi-million-dollar win without any shadow of doubt.
I'll tell you, man, you'll be lucky to find an attorney who is going to go against the municipality. Every time I found where attorneys really did it well, they're all disbarred and not able to practice law in the state, because that's what they'll do. And frankly, under jurisprudence in general, only the people really can litigate their rights and go after these people. And that's why we're having the problem. They're all expecting bar minions to do this stuff.
Yeah.
Most of them, I don't think understand it. They don't really understand what's going on. They think there's laws that allow them to do it too.
Right.
It was so cool. What was so cool because the federal judge was a female. Now, of course, they euthanized his animals. He had a couple cats and a bird and stuff. And right away, they had animal control come in, take the things off, and they just killed them. So I had all this stuff all laid out in this complaint. When this federal judge, I think, read his complaint, and then the fact that the county idiot lawyers could not answer the complaint. See, you have to remember, this judge is living in a house like paying a stupid Avalon commercial tax on her own too, doesn't understand the process either. Now you woke up the judge, and they sure as hell wouldn't go in front of a jury and listen to John and me, because I trained John for 2 years is how long it took to file this thing, because I want to make sure he understood the revenue code, the taxation thing, to where either one of us could litigate this thing and actually put it on point, to where the county could not stand up and go, oh, no, man, Mr. Stephen, Mr. John got it all wrong. Here's the law, here's the constitutional procedure that says we can tax this place and do all this stuff to keep this wonderful freedom system going. All you do is read the Federalist Papers. They made it perfectly clear that the taxation procedures that were set up were there to purposely make sure that the government was not ran off the backs of the people. Otherwise, there'd been no need for a revolutionary war.
Right.
And so, like I said, we had it pretty well down, pretty well laid out in the complaint, really, really well done. I spent like a year writing the damn thing, because, I'm not, like I said, I have 40 years of experience or some crap like that, and been to federal court 15 times or whatever, and won all these suits, so it took me a while to figure out exactly what to do, reading all the pre-trial practices, procedure manuals, all the court rules, spending I don't know how much time in American jurisprudence, once the state and local taxation, constitutional law, property rights. I mean, that's just all the research you had to do to really get this thing laid out in such a way that you can show that the law obviously makes it clear that, these people have no authority to do what they're doing.
Right. I know. It's a learning curve on getting all that in your head and getting it down. Believe me, I know. 4 years of doing the same, 10 years actually, I've been in the process of dealing with the IRS, and among a lot of other things, for foreclosures we've been working on. We've got a law club here, et cetera, et cetera. So, so I don't know if there's anything you might think you could do to help Jeff get something put together. I mean, he's been putting in some good stuff, and they just ignore it. They just walk all over him. The courts ignore what he puts in. It's like gag.
You're talking about the state courts?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's why you just have to go straight to federal court over this. I mean, I would go to state courts. Yeah, they're going to protect their cronies and their bosses and the corporations and hell out their pensions. They're going to protect them. That's what they basically try to do here. And I use that to set them up, though, for the 42 suit in federal court to show.
Right.
We're totally non-compliant with the procedural due process, and therefore they violated Article 1, Section 23 of the state constitution, which says every man shall have right to regress and access to the courts, and that they're denying you of that by their conduct. And once again, they got no way of showing how they can just deny your claims just because they feel like it, or don't want to hear it.
Yeah, well, that's what I figured. I love paper trails. You keep giving them paper. They keep sending you back stuff that's good evidence against them. He set it up.
They don't answer nothing. Before they even took this man's house, I knew enough about the public records request law. We were actually sending public records requests to the property appraiser and tax collector, asking, where's the procedures? What Florida statute and the revenue code are you using to do this? And then the 12D, which is the administrative code, is the other procedures in the Constitution, and they never could answer them. And then they're sending them to their lawyers to answer them. Man, come on, you got a public official in office who's doing this crap, and he doesn't know what statutes and law that allows him to do what he's doing, and he has to give it to the lawyers. That was a big red flag that we were on the right track. Yeah. And then we used the public records request and, of course, the federal thing to show that we asked for all this stuff. Then I was able to use motions in limni to make sure that they couldn't bring anything into federal court of anything at all because we asked for it long before we involved the courts and before they did the damage, you know. So I had to pretty well then use interrogatories and admissions with the same stuff, asking, you know, admissions, do you have a right to due process, yes or no? And then, of course, interrogatories asking the same questions. What statutes are you relying on to levy a commercial ad valorem tax on non-commercial property strictly the dwelling of the owner? And they didn't answer none of the stuff. That's why they went straight to mediation. And of course we objected. Of course the federal courts, that's what they want. They really want you to try to settle it out of court. So that's one thing I like about the federal courts, man. Yeah. At least here, that's how they handled it really well. Of course, we objected to that, and the judge said, no, you got to give a chance. So we knew they were going to do that, but it put us in a nice position. Like I said, they had a $400 million claim. Every time first they wanted to give the guy like $800,000 in his outback. Like, yeah, okay, right. We're sure the jury will give him a close for $400 million, so let's just go to trial. And we just kept playing that game for like 4 days of mediation. Finally, they came up with something that John was happy with, and gave him the house back. He wrote a very bogus criminal record against him, where he spent 3 months in jail over all that crap when these people came to his property, where he committed no crime, harmed nobody, and he's come with this fictitious paperwork and rob his home and drag him out of there and arrest him for trespassing and resisting with violence, and all kinds of crazy stuff that they did there, you know. And then the judge, in that case, just rubber stamped everything he did, ignored all the motions we filed, and they had 2 attorneys that were paid by his family who did nothing, filed no motions, nothing, just trying to go to trial, and basically, no way, you know, if you lose, you'll go to jail today, and that's what these idiots were doing the whole time.
If y'all decide to press forward on something like this, mainly learn how to file judicial complaints, criminal complaints on judges, and criminal complaints on the cops, and bar agreements on the attorneys, and criminal complaints on the attorneys, and learn how to fill out mail fraud. Right? Every time they send you a bill, a tax bill to your property, well, that is mail fraud because they're asking for money on something they rightfully do not own, or assuming that you are a corporation. Okay? And this is not a sovereign citizen thingamajiggy. This is actually law, legalese. And you know how I am about other videos about legalese. Alright, this is We the People News. Bye, y'all.